have two dreams with this sport. One is the US Open, and the other one is be like Roger.
He was supposed to admire him, not break him.
The giant from Argentina stormed Federer's throne, driven by pure admiration. At first, Federer owned him, but pain grows fangs.
And there was one thing Del Potro had that pushed Federer to the edge like no one else.
Power. Raw, relentless, untamed power. Shots so brutal, they shattered Roger's rhythm and rattled the maestro.
I don't give a shit what he said.
Del Potro rose to strike back and haunt the king.
And who do you want a rematch with?
Del Potro, US Open final in 2009.
Together, they fought for glory, for revenge, and etched a record into eternity.
What happens when your idol becomes your rival?
Wimbledon, 2007. Roger Federer was untouchable on grass. 4 consecutive titles at the All England Club. He was on the hunt for win number 50 in a row. And waiting across the net, an 18-year-old from Tandil, Argentina, Juan Martín del Potro. He wasn't supposed to trouble the king of grass.
He didn't. 3 sets, barely a scratch.
The next clashes? More of the same. Basel, 2007. A walk in the park for the Swiss. Del Potro's game couldn't even rattle Roger. Madrid, 2008. Absolute domination by the maestro.
Another Federer masterclass.
They met again in a Grand Slam match. Australian Open 2009. Del Potro was different now. Older, stronger. Fresh off a title in Auckland, his confidence was soaring. But confidence means nothing when you're facing Federer. From the first point, it was brutal. Federer dominated every shot in the book. Drop shots, slice, half volley, net charge, even a trick shot. 6-3, 6-love, 6-love.
13 games in a row. A double bagel. A public execution on Rod Laver Arena.
It was the most crushing loss of their young rivalry. But as the Argentinian said, it wasn't the most painful.
Not even close.
They clashed again on the only surface they hadn't faced each other on yet. Clay. Same nightmare. Del Potro showed too much respect. Played too safe. Federer picked him apart.
O la frialdad que él tiene para hacer sentir al rival de que te va a ganar, más allá de cómo esté el resultado, te hace sentir que te va a ganar. A mí me ha pasado y es difícil perderle el respeto, tenísticamente hablando, a tipo con el que idolatrás, que semana a semana hace historia en este deporte y que bate todos los récords.
5 matches. Not a single set won. Same old misery. Federer had found a new toy for his collection. Or so he thought.
Roland Garros, 2009. No one saw it coming. Rafael Nadal was invincible in Paris. He had won every single match he had ever played at Roland Garros.
But this time, Robin Soderling stunned him in the 4th round.
Just like that, the king of clay was gone, and the door was wide open. For Roger Federer, it was a dream within reach.
He had played 3 finals here, 3 heartbreaking losses.
For Juan Martín del Potro, it was a whole new world. His first Grand Slam semifinal on the red clay of Roland Garros.
From the crowd to the locker room, everyone knew. This was the real final.
Todos perdió Rafa nuestra oportunidad. Claro, Roger nunca había ganado Roland Garros y llegamos a la semifinal. Roger y yo sabíamos que era nuestra final, en nuestro partido, porque con Soderling teníamos el historial a favor.
Del Potro stepped in with one plan: attack, deep returns, heavy forehands. It worked. He took the first set, his first ever against Federer. In the second set, both men held firm. It went to a tiebreak. Del Potro started fearless, but one unforced error rattled him, and more followed. His hopes crashed into the net, point after point. Federer seized the chance. Tiebreak. Federer.
But the kid refused to crumble.
He shook off the nerves and came out blazing in the third. In the very first game, he unleashed a stunning passing shot to break Federer's serve. For the first time in years, Federer looked lost out there. Another break sealed it. Del Potro pinned Federer from side to side, taking the set 6-2. The Court Philippe Chatrier crowd held its breath. Federer, haunted by 3 runner-up finishes, was on the ropes. One more set for Del Potro, and the ghost of Roland Garros would haunt him forever.
But champions don't surrender.
Federer slowed the pace, mixed angles, and threw Juan Martín off balance. His shots were a fraction late now, his legs growing heavier. 5 games in a row handed Federer the 4th set, 6-1. The match was locked at 2 sets each.
Everything would come down to the final set.
Began with the crowd roaring for Federer. Every point celebrated like he was their own. He ran for everything. Elegant backhands, flawless movement. He broke Del Potro in the very first game. But this wasn't the same kid who once froze against Federer. Juan Martín fought back, hammering aggressive returns to level it at 3-3.
The next game was a war.
Federer pushed to love 40, but Del Potro clawed back, saving 3 break points. The tension was unbearable. Yet on the next chance, a double fault handed Federer the break. Still, the Argentine kept believing. At 5-3, he saved 1 match point, refusing to fade, but the dream was slipping away. Federer, chasing the one trophy Nadal had always denied him, wouldn't let it go this time. He sealed the match.
The ghost was gone. For Del Potro, a seed was planted.
Y bueno, y terminó perdiendo en el quinto set. Fue la que dije, ok, nunca más voy a ganar un Grand Slam, porque era mi oportunidad. Y sin embargo me sirvió mucho. Creo que la clave es aprender de esas derrotas que duelen.
Next time, the king would pay.
3 months later, in New York, it was time for the rematch, the US Open final, Federer's impregnable territory. 5 consecutive titles, an empire no one could touch. On his way here, Del Potro had crushed Nadal in straight sets, and Federer had outlasted Djokovic yet again.
Now, the stage was set for an epic final.
That's why not to be underestimated. He's had one of the best summers. Some other guy was Murray probably. He seems fresh too, even though it's his first Grand Slam final.
Federer didn't want any drama. Right from the start, he showed it. A pinpoint passing shot broke Del Potro right away. He looked calm, in control, untouchable. When he fired an ace to close the set, Arthur Ashe knew. It felt like just another routine final. Early in the second, Federer kept pressing. A double fault from Del Potro handed him another break. Everything was going to script. Federer cruising toward a 6th straight crown.
But then, the momentum shifted.
Down 1-2, Del Potro pushed Federer to deuce. Roger fired an ace, but Juan Martín protested. He wasn't ready. A ball kid had moved in his line of sight. The umpire ordered a replay. Federer, visibly annoyed, missed an easy shot, but he held serve anyway. At 5-4, serving for a 2-set lead, Federer looked ready to shut the door. Then, Del Potro unleashed a magical forehand down the line. Called out. He challenged. Hawkeye showed it had clipped the line by a hair.
Break point.
One more fearless forehand. The crowd erupted. Del Potro broke back, leveling it at 5-5. Suddenly, Federer looked human. The tie-break turned brutal. A mishit off Federer's frame gave Del Potro a mini-break. He didn't waste it. At 6-5, he attacked again. A vicious cross-court forehand.
Federer couldn't touch it. Del Potro snatched the set.
The third set exploded with tension, picking up right where the second left off. Del Potro struck first, breaking Federer in the 7th game. For a moment, the Arthur Ashe crowd gasped, but the Swiss champion didn't panic. He broke straight back. Serving at advantage to go up 5-4, Federer hit a second serve. Del Potro's return flew long, but seconds later, the Argentine challenged.
Federer unleashed his biggest outburst.
Sideline. Come on. I wasn't allowed to challenge like after 2 seconds. The guy takes like 10.
Hawkeye confirmed the return was out, but the damage was done.
You have any rules in there? Stop showing me the hand, okay? Don't tell me to be quiet, okay? When I want to talk, I'll talk, alright? I don't give a shit what he said.
I just say he's waiting too long. Straight away. Tell me the rules. I was not allowed to challenge like 2 matches to go after 1 second.
At 4-5, Del Potro faced crushing pressure to hold serve.
At 30 all, 2 double faults in a row proved fatal. Federer moved ahead on the scoreboard, 2-1.
Early in the fourth, Federer smelled blood again. Up 1-0, he earned 2 break points, almost match points. 1 more break and it would have been over. But Del Potro refused to fold, ripping 2 massive forehands to stay alive. At 2-1, another break chance for Federer. Another cannon forehand from Del Potro shut it down.
Federer was starting to feel it slip. He faltered, losing the next game at love.
But the king wasn't done yet. He fought back, created another breakpoint, and this time Del Potro's forehand clipped the net. 4-4.
Del Potro's plan was clear now. Swing big or go home.
Thunderous forehands, huge risks, high-stakes tennis. The stadium was electric. Fans roared like it was a Davis Cup tie. At 5-5, Del Potro blasted 2 hammer forehands, and the crowd erupted. It would all come down to another tiebreak. First point, Federer double faulted, handing Del Potro a mini break. That was all he needed.
At 4-2, more drama. Federer challenged a serve called good. The replay, barely out. They replayed the point. Del Potro won it anyway.
Moments later, a rare Federer error sealed the set for Del Potro, 7-6.
The final set was pure mayhem and heart. Del Potro sensed his moment at last. He had lost the respect for Federer that once froze him.
Ya de cómo está el resultado, te hace sentir que te va a ganar. Eso lo sentí siempre contra él hasta el día de la final del US Open. Cuando remonto el cuarto set, ahí esto que te estoy contando cambió en mi interior. Y ahí dije, bueno, ahora capaz que no siente que me va a ganar igual.
He broke Roger in the opening game and surged ahead, never looking back. At 2-5, Federer, the king of New York, served to stay alive. He saved 2 match points with vintage brilliance. But on the third, after a double fault, it happened. Del Potro's forehand forced a final error.
A new king crowned in Flushing Meadows.
I would have loved to win, but I've had an unbelievable run here. I would have never thought 5-6 years ago they're going to win 40 matches in a row here. So I would like to congratulate Juan Martín on an unbelievable tournament. It was the best.
When you beat Rafael Nadal yesterday, you said, I think this is the most beautiful moment in my life. How do you feel now?
Much better.
Pero después me gustaría ganar el US Open.
Well, I have two dreams with this sport. One is the US Open, and the other one is be like Roger. One is done, but I need to improve a lot to be like you.
Del Potro had just earned his first win over Federer. The rivalry was only just beginning.
That loss haunted Federer. At year's end, Del Potro was still on fire. He even beat Federer at the ATP finals, but then the rivalry hit pause.
A wrist injury kept Del Potro off the tour.
When he finally returned in 2011, Federer reminded him who was boss, brushing him aside in Cincinnati 6-3, 7-5. Fast forward to Melbourne, 2012, the Australian Open quarterfinals, a Grand Slam stage once more. Years earlier, Federer had humiliated Del Potro here. Now, both wanted payback. Del Potro for the past, Federer still carrying that US Open scar.
But history repeated itself.
Federer jumped out to an early 3-0 lead, moving freely and controlling every rally. Del Potro had no answer. 6-4, 6-3, 6-2.
A one-sided beatdown, no contest.
They met again that season in Rotterdam, this time in the final. Another straightforward win for Federer. Then came 2 more matches, same story, all straight sets, 5 wins in a row, not a single set for Del Potro.
His old nightmare was back, and worse than ever.
3 years to the day after their epic clay battle, they clashed again in Paris, the Roland Garros quarterfinals. Del Potro wanted another turning point, locked in, focused, fearless. Federer started slow. His serve faltered. His timing was off. Del Potro pounced, snatching 2 quick breaks to go up 4-1. He stormed through the first set, 6-3. In the second, Federer found a window. He grabbed a break but couldn't hold it.
Frustration crept in.
The rallies grew longer, heavier. Each point was a street fight. At 6-6, the tension peaked. Tie break. Del Potro unleashed a blistering forehand for the first mini-break, seizing control. Federer was fighting to stay alive.
Then came the moment that pushed him over the edge. Trying to level the score at 5-5, he carved a deep slice, teetering on the line.
At a particular moment, I hit a slice. It was floating for a long time, and this one lady just goes out. And I was like, it's not out yet, it's going to be in, and I ended up losing the point. I just got upset because it was a big point in the tiebreaker.
The Argentine stayed ice cold. He clinched the tiebreak, leading 2 sets to love.
Paris gasped in shock, as if he had summoned it himself. A light drizzle came to the Swiss's rescue.
Ya estaba un poco más lento por la lluvia, por la humedad y costaba tirar winners y
With the soft rain-slowing play, Federer struck right from the third set's opening game, breaking Del Potro immediately. He had finally cracked the Argentine's code, storming through the set 6-2. Federer was back in the fight, but the real show was yet to come.
All I tried to do was make it as hard as possible for Juan Martín. I tried to make it as physical as possible, but I did feel he was a bit slow, particularly when I was serving to his forehand side, when he had to push with his left knee. Or I just made it up and said, okay, this is his problem.
The fourth, a Swiss masterclass.
Del Potro, drained from his early dominance, ran out of steam. Federer blitzed him 6-0. The match was level at 2 sets apiece.
The decider loomed.
In the final set, Del Potro found his spark again, surprising Federer and earning multiple breakpoints right from the start. But Federer's forehand roared back to its deadly best. He shut down every chance, held firm, then broke Del Potro's serve with precision. That break shattered the Argentine's hopes, and Federer stormed toward victory. With one final surge, he closed the set 6-3, completing his 7th career comeback from 2 sets down.
I guess on clay in particular with 5 sets you do get some time sometimes and a few lives, you know, along the way to find your rhythm and you find your way back into a match. And
hacerle frente a Federer después de todas las palizas que me venía dando este año, creo que también es importante.
Another epic battle was just around the corner.
London, 2012. Olympic semi-finals, a direct fight for a medal. On Wimbledon's grass, Federer's kingdom, 7 titles. The latest, just weeks earlier, Del Potro faced a daunting challenge. Yet belief surged as he stunned Federer, stealing the first set, 6-3. The second was a slugfest, both trading heavy blows. In the tiebreak, Federer was on the brink at 4-4, fighting to stay alive. But he had survived Del Potro's fire before. He held his nerve, leveled it at 1 set all.
The third, tennis history. Neither gave an inch, attacking, defending, bleeding for their flag.
2.5 hours for just 1 set. World-class tennis at its purest. Del Potro had just been broken for the first time all match. Federer stepped up to serve at 10-9 for the win. But Juan Martín didn't flinch. He broke back at love. 10-all. At 14-14, Federer pressed for the break with 3 chances. Del Potro's courage erased them all. The battle raged on. At 17-17, Federer finally broke through. Serving for the match at 40-30, he had match point.
He botched a routine volley. Deuce. But this time, no hesitation. Federer sealed it, 19-17, winning the longest match in Olympic history.
Y a veces no alcanza. Di todo y duele, la verdad que duele perder, pero no me cuesta hablar también, no tengo como la mente en blanco, perdí un partido que fue muy parejo.
yeah, I served against the match probably 10 times at least, so we're human out there, we're not robots, and you see yourself on the loser side. And obviously I hope he can make a medal after, you know, such a big match. he can really show what a great champion he is, and hopefully he can win a bronze. This is Juan Martín. The outcome was terrific for me, but heartbreak for him, so I feel bad for him.
Del Potro needed revenge. Would he get it?
That heartbreaking Olympic loss gave Del Potro wings, snapping his 7 straight defeats to Federer. He surged on his best-ever winning streak, starting with a thrilling final at Federer's home tournament in Basel. In a gripping tiebreak, Del Potro broke through and claimed the title.
Very close match. You deserved it. You had a couple of tough losses this year against me, so I'm happy for you, and you play great tennis.
Del Potro continued his momentum by defeating Federer again at the 2012 ATP Finals. In 2013, they met again in the Basel final for a rematch.
Juan Martín, who's a top 10 player for such a long time, such a great player who I've had so many good battles with, so it's just nice playing against him in the finals here, the remake of last year where I lost 7-6 in the third, so hopefully I can get my revenge on him.
But there was no revenge.
Once again, Juan Martín lifted the trophy on Federer's home soil, defeating him in 3 sets. Federer struck back, winning their next 2 meetings. But from 2014 to 2016, Del Potro faced no Federer. Instead, he battled his own body. He endured new wrist surgeries, endless rehab, and the fear he might never be the same.
Their rivalry paused until 2017, when Del Potro came back with unfinished business.
Del Potro rose like a true warrior, ready to come back stronger and reignite his rivalry with Federer. Their next meeting came at the Miami Masters, 2017. Federer won comfortably. Straight sets, no drama.
Strange because you know the opponent very well, but then when you don't play him for a while, you forget the tendencies that he might have, you forget what actually worked out for you. And when you start the match, all of a sudden after 4 games, you go like, okay, yeah, those are the patterns that he always uses.
In Miami, Federer spotted them fast and shut them down. 5 years since their last Grand Slam duel, and now they clashed again. This was the one Federer had always wanted back.
And who do you want a rematch with?
Maybe Del Potro US Open final in 2009.
Del Potro had been forced to reinvent his game after wrist surgeries.
Nunca jugaba slice, nunca tiraba otras variantes que no sea pegarle fuerte o ser agresivo en mi juego.
No more safe tennis. His forehand had become a missile.
For Federer, this wasn't a final, but it was a thorn he needed to pull out. Time for revenge.
2017 US Open quarterfinal. The match was a spectacle. From the very first set, the intensity was electric. At 5-5, 30-all, Federer missed his first serve.
The second clipped the net. Let. Then a double fault. Worst possible timing. Break point.
Del Potro chased down a running passing shot and grabbed the break. One solid service game later, first set, Del Potro 7-5. Federer, still chasing redemption for 2009, roared back in the second. He broke early, jumped to a 4-1 lead, and never looked back. 6-3.
The crowd knew. This was a classic in the making.
In the third, Del Potro came out firing, racing to 3-love and nearly making it 4-love on return. Federer dug deep, saving a crucial game with a sublime backhand drop shot. At 4-2, Federer found a window. A Del Potro double fault handed him the break back.
The tension exploded into a tiebreak.
Thunderous forehands, fearless exchanges, 4-4. Federer surged ahead, 6-4, 2 set points. But Del Potro erased them both with a laser return and a huge serve, 6-6.
Risking big, Del Potro double faulted. Third set point for the Swiss. Federer attacked, charged the net, but missed.
Nobody could believe it. Even so, he recovered and earned another set point. But Juan Martín hammered it away with a brutal forehand. Del Potro fired another big serve, held firm at the net, and pushed it to 9-8. Set point Del Potro. One fearless return later, the Argentine had the tiebreak.
He roared. 2-1.
Riding the wave, Del Potro broke Federer in a brutal 5th game of the 4th set. Federer pushed back, desperate to stay alive. At 5-4, 30-all, a rare net miss gave Del Potro match point. One last thunderous forehand, done.
He did it again. Del Potro was back.
It was so important to me beating him another time in this amazing tournament.
I missed too many balls. He came up with the goods when it needed to, and I helped him a little bit sometimes maybe, but he was better today, especially in the big points.
Que la pelota le va fuerte y él no puede dominar como siempre hace es lo que le genera esa incomodidad.
Even Federer couldn't help but joke about it. Del Potro's forehands were so powerful, Roger shared a tweet giving him a new nickname, Juan Martín del Potro. A fitting name. His forehand really was a hammer.
A massive victory for the Argentine. But the wildest Federer-Del Potro clash was just around the corner.
They faced off twice more that year, first in Shanghai, where Federer clawed back to win a tight battle. Then came Basel, their third final there. This time, third time lucky, the maestro triumphed at home, turning around another fierce fight. Neither of them knew it then, but their next clash would be their last. Their Indian Wells final was a fitting end, a battle that truly lived up to the rivalry. Del Potro dominated the start with a rock-solid backhand, sealing the first set 6-4. In the second, Federer found a way to move the Argentine around and started winning more points.
He earned set points, but couldn't shut the door.
The tension peaked in the second set tiebreak. On his fifth set point, Federer served. Del Potro's return flew wide. The crowd erupted, thinking the set was done. But Del Potro challenged the serve itself. Hawkeye showed it was out.
Federer had to serve again for the set, and rattled, double faulted.
You should have waited.
Oh, you should have waited, but you didn't stop them, did you? You just let them come. Missed another call.
From set point to match point for Del Potro. Roger saved it, dug deep, and finally roared as he took the tiebreak, 10-8. In the decider, locked at 4-all, Federer broke Del Potro's serve and stepped up to serve for the match.
It looked over, but Del Potro never stopped believing. He saved 3 match points in a stunning twist.
One final hammer forehand. Federer couldn't reach it. 5-5.
Had a couple of match points, maybe 2, 3, I'm not even sure. But it doesn't matter if it was 10. It was 20 or 1.
Mentally rattled, Federer couldn't reset. He surrendered the tiebreak, and Del Potro sealed the title.
This beautiful rivalry couldn't go on.
8 veces me operé yo la rodilla.
The warrior had been broken by injuries.
Y hoy en día yo lo que pido es subir una escalera sin dolor.